Hello, dancers. My next guest is a former Pittsburgh Band member and a color guard captain, but now is a graduate student at Duquesne University. Today, we dive into the world of dance, counseling, and advice for the next generation of dancers. Ciao, I'm Anna Harsh, professional dancer, author, and host of The Dance Floor, a podcast that explores the power of dance in our lives through personal stories and interviews with experts. Each episode shares life lessons and advice through the art of dance. Learn how dance inspires confidence, fosters connection, and ways to improve your skills. Whether you are a seasoned dancer or brand new to the art, you'll find something that motivates you in this podcast. So grab your dance shoes and join me on The Dance Floor. Welcome back, dancers. I'm here with a brand new friend. Her name is Ida Reilsono. She's a dancer and a teacher. She has so many things on her resume, and she's going to be sharing so many great tips. Ida, welcome to The Dance Floor.
Hi, thanks so much for having me today.
Ida, tell us a little bit about where you're teaching right now and what you're doing.
Yeah, so I am a dance teacher at Bella School of Dance in Swickley, and I'm also a full-time grad student at Duquesne University. I'm getting my master's in school counseling. I'm also a color guard coach at Montour High School.
Wow. So you have a full plate, like many of us dancers. What are you working on right now? You just finished up a recital for the studio you're working with.
Yeah, we just had a recital about 2 weeks ago. It was so fun. Now I'm kind of in that period of just relax, already thinking about next year because I have 10 classes next year, which is awesome. Now I'm just preparing for band camp for Montour. We have that in a couple weeks. We're doing 16 different songs, which is really fun, but we're doing a 2010 to 2019 like throwback show. And it's so perfect for me, like right up my alley, like all my songs. It's great. So I'm just preparing for that now.
I love watching Colored Guard. We were chatting before we got onto the air, and I just love watching Colored Guard. I think it's so beautiful. I think it really adds a lot of magic to a show, especially for band. And I've used it in the past for my Allegro Dance Company performances. We've done a lot of flag waving workshops and worked with many different dancers and flag wavers from Italy. Give some tips about like how to hold it or how to twirl it, or how can we get better at our flag twirling?
Absolutely. So I think my experience with dance really helped with color guard. If I could give any advice for color guard, if you're doing color guard, do dance too, because it'll just make it so much easier and so much better for you. With the fluidity of dance, just combine that with color guard, it's so great. But I think whenever I first started, I was very nervous to hold the pole, I think. So I always remember holding it very like lightly, and just like all my movements were like, I did everything with my fingertips, and it felt nice and fluid, but it didn't look as good as I thought it did. So if I could give any advice for the color guard people, definitely just squeeze that pull. The tighter you squeeze, the more control you're going to have with that, especially those tosses. Whenever I did my tosses, I would toss using my fingertips. So I would just like kind of throw it up there. And it didn't get the rotation, the speed, the oomph that you needed. So really squeeze that pull. That definitely helped me. I didn't really start doing that until my senior year of high school, and then a little bit in college as well. But I kind of got back into the bad habit of using my fingertips. But now that I'm coaching it, I'm really just teaching everybody squeeze, 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 squeeze.
Yeah, I think as teachers, we go back to, I have to teach them this from the beginning. And you kind of review your own basics and you go back to the beginning for yourself. And I think as a teacher, it kind of makes your teaching skills get better too, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. There's so much that I've learned from teaching as well. I learned as a student, but I also learned as a teacher. That's not just with color guard, but with dance too. I feel like I'm constantly learning, which is obviously an awesome thing. And even my own technique with dance and color guard has gotten so much better because it's not just me learning as a student, but now just like teaching these basics. And I'm like, oh, wait, I have to remember to teach these girls how to do this. I have to remember how to teach them how to do that. And just really helping me like refine my own technique.
Yeah. And you know what? And you start thinking about things in a specific order, like, oh, I have to teach this first or second or third. Do you find that in the studio? What's some tips we can give those new dance teachers being in the studio, maybe teaching for the first or second time? How can we help them?
Yeah, it was definitely scary. So I'm actually entering my third year of teaching dance. And I remember my first year, I was like, where do I start? What am I doing? So honestly, at that point, I talked to my dance studio owner, and she just told me, for tap, just kind of have them get a feel for the rhythm. You don't have to do all this crazy stuff right away. just get a feel for the rhythm, have them listen to music, clap out the beats, snap it, do whatever. You can use like a little maraca, especially if they're younger. So that was really helpful for tap. For ballet, I feel like you should just kind of have them, even any type of dance, have them understand their body, because that's really a big thing. Understand how it feels to do that tendu, do that point, do a certain move, have them do it nice and slow. But I really just think having a good understanding of how your body works and how things feel and how things move, I think that's a really good baseline to start at.
Yeah, learning the mechanics first is a great place to start. Sometimes I love the tip of listening to the music. Sometimes I'll let my dancers, even if they're older students, this is the song we're going to be dancing to for our routine. Let's listen to it. Let's just close our eyes and visualize what it sounds like. And then we interpret what it sounds like visually with our movements, right? So giving them those little blocks of learning of, oh, we're going to do this first. What they can expect really decreases their stress in class. What can they expect in your class? We're going to do this first, always. We're going to warm up. We're going to be at the bar, whatever it is. Have something that they know, oh, when I go to Ida's class, I'm going to be doing this. So is there something that you love to incorporate in all your classes in general?
So as you can imagine, I'm really big into mental health. I'm going into school counseling. So we always do a little check-in. You can do favorite part of your week, how we're feeling, thumbs up, thumbs down, somewhere in the middle. I just want them to know that I love them for being dance students, but I also want them to be good people too and have fun here. I don't want them to be like, oh, I have to go to dance class. My dad actually says that line, but I never want them to say like, oh, I don't want to go dance, or I don't want them to feel forced to. I want them to be excited to do it. So I want them to know that they're genuinely cared about there. And I want them to know that, they can always talk to me about anything, whether they have a question about dance or whatever. I have a lot of kids who will just talk to me about how things in their life are going. And I'm really glad they have that space and they feel that safeness to talk to me about that. So I think as long as you make your students feel like they're genuinely cared about as people and not just faces on the dance floor, then I think they're really going to want to come to your class and enjoy it a lot more.
I agree. I love hearing their stories. And I usually left 5 or 6 minutes at the end of every class and say, okay, who wants to share with me today? Who wants to share a story? Or like you said, how are we feeling? Checking in. I love that. And I have several meditations on the podcast here that a lot of the dancers love. Some are for performance anxiety. Some are just waking up and stretching and let's getting our mind set for the day. So don't forget, listeners, go back and listen to some of the podcasts. Like she says, check in with yourself all the time. And how are you doing today before you dance? That is extremely important. Our mindset before we take the stage can be crucial to make or break. I've been watching the Olympics lately, and I can't help to think such a concentration moment and the high stress that they're under. And we as dancers go through the same thing. We think about those things before we take the stage. Is there something, Ida, that you do before you perform or teach? Do you have like some kind of breathing technique or anything that you do personally?
Yeah, so we actually learned about this in grad school a lot. I'm sure a lot of people have heard a lot of grounding techniques. So you can see 5 things you see, some things you can touch, just like really grounding yourself and just making yourself, I'm here, I'm okay, this is going to be fine. I also do box breathing sometimes. So I'll breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. I find myself doing that a lot at night too. Sometimes when I'm choreographing at midnight, I can't slow my brain down and I just need to ground myself a little bit more. I find those things very helpful. I actually, at our last recital, we did a teacher dance, which was so fun because I got to perform on the stage again and it was so great. But I was definitely nervous. So I definitely found myself using those like calming techniques a lot.
Oh, those are really good ones. I love the box breathing. I do that a lot with yoga. And then I've taught my students just the hand technique where you touch each finger, inhale and exhale. Like you said, something tangible, or what can you see? What can you hear? What can you touch? Yeah. Those are all great things to calm down, right? At the end of the day, because like you said, your mind is still going and unwinding as a dancer. It's hard to come back down, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very hard, especially when you're just got off the performance. I know sometimes I overthink and I'm like, did I do that right? Was that okay? Did that kick look good? Did this look good? And, sometimes I just have to be like, you know what? It's over. And that's what I did. And I gave my best performance. And that's what it was.
Ida, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, let's talk about what's next for you and maybe some advice and life lessons that you've learned from dance. All right, everyone, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Ida Reilsono. Did you know Allegro Dance Company offers various classes online from dance to fitness? Yes, now you can enjoy a relaxing yoga class or book a tarantella class for your entire family. You don't have to leave your home anymore to enjoy these great and unique classes. So what are you waiting for? There's no more excuses. You can work at your pace. Book your class. Choose your time. Visit our website today, allegrodancecompany.net, and let your dance journey begin. Welcome back, everyone. We're here with Ida. She's giving some amazing tips for us, how to calm down, how to de-stress when we're teaching dance, some color guard tips. Ida, we've covered a lot today. What's next for you? I know you're working on some things for the next, maybe the next year or your next stage of your career.
Yeah. So right now, as I said, we're preparing for band camp. So we have that season coming up. Super excited for that. It's gonna be a great season. I'm also teaching, like I said, 10 dance classes next year. So preparing for that. Still doing grad school. I have about another year and a half of that, unfortunately. Not unfortunately. I'm glad I'm glad I'm moving along. I'm ready to get out there and have a school counseling position. But anyway, so yeah, I will be done with that in fall 2025. So this year is a pretty much maintaining year. So I'm going to keep pushing along, keep doing what I'm doing. Nothing super new this year as of right now, but with me, you never know. Cause this time last year, if you would have asked me if I'm coaching a Montour, I don't think I had that job yet. So you never know with me.
Well, you know what? A lot of great things keep popping up as we go in our career. So I never get super surprised, but I'm always pleasantly grateful, I would say, for new things that pop up or new opportunities. So what do you think we would say for the next generation of dancers that are coming along that are maybe struggling out there and listening? What advice can you say?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this a lot because I think my best piece of advice is you're always going to be your oldest friend and you should really take care of yourself and don't be too hard on yourself and don't say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to anybody else. Because sometimes I'll say to myself like, oh my gosh, that performance is awful. What are you doing? You didn't study enough. But I wouldn't say that to any of my kids or anybody I know.
Right.
Why am I saying that to myself? So sometimes I catch myself saying those things and I have to take a step back and be like, you know what? That wasn't really nice to myself. I'm sorry to myself. And I think you just have to be really kind to yourself because again, you're your oldest friend. You have to take care of yourself. That's
perfect. Ida, where can we follow your journey? Social media or a website? Do you want to drop on us?
I have a social media. I have like an Instagram account and everything, but usually my dad has his own show, the Claudio Reilsono show. He talks about me a lot on there. So she'll definitely get some updates there.
Yes, I know. And he was a wonderful guest that we've had on the podcast here. So if you want to check out his episode, don't forget, follow the Dance Floor podcast and give us his website or his podcast one more time.
Yes, it's the ClaudioReilsono.com is his website. And then the podcast is the Claudio Reilsono Show.
Perfect. Yeah, we love getting updates on you, Ida, and I can't wait for your next adventure for dance and color guard. I can't wait to see all of that. And give a shout out to the studio that you're teaching one more time.
Yeah, I teach at Bella School of Dance right in Swickley.
And that's Swickley, Pennsylvania.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Perfect. So go there, take Ida's class. She has so many things to teach us. Ida, thank you so much for being a guest on the dance floor today.
Thank you so much for having me. Keep dancing, everybody.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and leave 5 stars. I'm your host, Anna Harsh. Until next time, keep moving on the dance floor.